Fashion through the ages, 1900 to 2025. Fashion has always been a reflection of the cultural, social, and economic forces that shape society. From the glamorous gowns of the early 20th century to the streetwear revolution of the 21st century, fashion has evolved with remarkable speed and flair. This journey through the fashion trends from 1900 to 2025 explores the shifts in style, the influences that propelled them, and the lasting impacts that these changes had on the industry. The early 1900s, 1900 to 1910. The early 20th century was a period of transition, moving away from the restrictive corsets and voluminous skirts of the 19th century. The turn of the century witnessed the height of the Edwardian period, where women's fashion featured long, flowing gowns with tight bodices and enormous skirts. These dresses often had intricate details, including lace, ribbons, and elaborate embroidery, reflecting the opulence of the time. At the same time, the S-bend silhouette emerged, characterized by a rounded back and a forward-thrusted bust, created by the use of a tightly laced corset. Women's fashion in this period was often a sign of social status, with the upper classes showcasing their wealth through expensive fabrics, fur, and jewels. The Roaring Twenties, 1920s. The 1920s, also known as the Roaring Twenties, was a time of social upheaval and transformation. After World War I, women sought liberation from the corsets and long skirts of the previous decades. This period saw the rise of the flapper look, which was characterized by loose, straight dresses with a dropped waistline, shorter hemlines, and an emphasis on comfort. The flapper dress, often adorned with fringe or beads, represented a departure from the restrictive clothing of the past. The fashion of the 1920s also saw the widespread popularity of bobbed hairstyles, headbands, and cloche hats. The influence of jazz music and the growing popularity of women in the workforce contributed to the rise of a more casual, yet stylish approach to fashion. Designers like Coco Chanel, Jean Patou, and Elsa Schiaparelli were instrumental in shaping the era's fashion with their innovative and modern designs. The 1930s, elegance amidst hard times. The Great Depression of the 1930s led to a shift in fashion toward more modest and practical clothing. However, this era also introduced a sense of glamour, especially in Hollywood, which played a significant role in defining style. Women's fashion became more refined and elegant, with the emphasis on feminine curves. Dresses became more figure-hugging and featured longer hemlines. Hollywood stars like Greta Garbo and Jean Harlow set the tone for evening wear with luxurious gowns made from satin, velvet, and silk. Designers such as Madeleine Vianney and Claire McCardell made significant contributions to the era's style, with Vianney's bias-cut dresses allowing for movement and draping in a way that had not been seen before. The 1940s, wartime fashion and post-war liberation. The 1940s were dominated by World War II, which caused significant material shortages and rationing. During the war, clothing became more utilitarian, with women often taking on the role of workforce contributors. Due to fabric shortages, skirts were shorter, and women wore practical clothing, including trousers, for the first time in history. After the war ended, fashion experienced a dramatic shift, with Christian Dior's new look taking the fashion world by storm in 1947. Dior's silhouette featured a nipped-in waist, full skirts, and soft, rounded shoulders, symbolizing the return to femininity after years of wartime austerity. This post-war era embraced opulence and luxury, and fashion was no longer just about utility. It was a means of celebrating peace and prosperity. The 1950s, suburban chic and rock and roll. The 1950s saw fashion becoming more accessible to the masses, as the rise of the middle class and the popularity of television made it easier for new trends to spread. This period marked the height of the hourglass silhouette, epitomized by the designs of Christian Dior, who continued to dominate the fashion scene with his luxurious dresses. At the same time, the 1950s saw the emergence of more casual styles, influenced by rock and roll and youth culture. The poodle skirt, leather jackets, and blue jeans became popular among teenagers. Movies like Rebel Without a Cause helped solidify the rebellious, carefree image of youth. Designers like Hubert de Givenchy and Balenciaga were known for their elegant evening wear, while more casual brands like Levi's and Converse gained popularity with younger generations. The 1960s, revolution in fashion. The 1960s were marked by cultural revolution, with significant changes in social norms and attitudes. Fashion became an expression of individualism, with youth culture and counterculture movements influencing styles. One of the most iconic trends of the 1960s was the mod look, characterized by bold geometric patterns, shift dresses, and miniskirts. British designer Mary Quant is often credited with popularizing the miniskirt, which became a symbol of women's liberation and youth empowerment. The late 1960s saw the rise of hippie fashion, which embraced flowing fabrics, bell-bottom pants, and tie-dye. This bohemian aesthetic was a reaction to the materialism of the previous decade and reflected the growing anti-establishment sentiments of the time. The 1970s, disco, punk, and platform shoes. The 1970s were defined by two distinct fashion movements, disco and punk. Disco fashion was glamorous, glittery, and bold. Platform shoes, metallic fabrics, bell-bottom trousers, and wide collars dominated the nightlife scene. Designers like Halston became known for their glamorous evening wear, while the disco look symbolized the carefree and party-centric culture of the era. At the same time, punk fashion emerged as a rebellious counterpoint to the extravagance of disco. Pioneered by designers like Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren, punk fashion was characterized by torn clothes, leather jackets, band t-shirts, and the use of safety pins. The punk aesthetic was raw, anti-fashion, and highly politicized, making a bold statement against mainstream culture. The 1980s, power suits and excess. The 1980s were characterized by excess, boldness, and a return to luxury. The power suit, with its wide shoulders and tailored fit, became a symbol of women's increasing presence in the workforce. Designers like Giorgio Armani and Donna Karan were known for their sophisticated yet daring interpretations of professional attire, with sharp lines and exaggerated silhouettes. The 1980s also saw the rise of athleisure, with sportswear becoming a fashionable choice for everyday wear. Tracksuits, leggings, and oversized sweatshirts were not only worn for working out, but also for casual outings, influenced by pop culture icons like Madonna, Michael Jackson, and the rising popularity of hip-hop. The 1990s, minimalism and grunge. The 1990s brought a shift away from the bold, extravagant styles of the 1980s. Minimalism became the dominant trend, with designers like Calvin Klein, Jill Sander, and Helmut Lang focusing on clean lines, neutral colors, and simple silhouettes. The era also saw the rise of grunge fashion, popularized by bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Flannel shirts, ripped jeans, and combat boots became synonymous with the anti-establishment spirit of the time. The 1990s also introduced the supermodel era, with icons like Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, and Kate Moss dominating runways and magazine covers. The rise of the internet also paved the way for new fashion influencers and the beginning of the globalized fashion industry. The 2000s, fast fashion and digital age. The 2000s were defined by the rise of fast fashion, which made trendy clothing more affordable and accessible than ever before. Brands like H&M, Zara, and Forever 21 grew exponentially, offering inexpensive versions of runway looks. The low-rise jeans, crop tops, and logo-heavy fashion dominated this era, influenced by celebrities like Paris Hilton and Britney Spears. The 2000s also marked the rise of online shopping and the emergence of fashion blogs. The internet allowed for quicker trend cycles, and the democratization of fashion meant that anyone with a computer could access the latest looks. Technology, reality television, and celebrity culture became intertwined with fashion, influencing what was popular. The 2010s, sustainability and streetwear. The 2010s were marked by a growing awareness of sustainability in fashion. Consumers began to question the environmental and ethical implications of fast fashion, leading to a rise in eco-conscious brands. Designers and brands began to explore sustainable materials, with many advocating for more mindful consumption of clothing. Streetwear, which had been growing in influence for years, became mainstream in the 2010 S brands like Supreme, Off-White, and Yeezy blended high fashion with street style, and collaborations between luxury brands and streetwear labels became a major trend. Sneakers, hoodies, and graphic tees became high fashion items, symbolizing the growing influence of youth culture on the fashion world. The 2020 S: Inclusivity, Technology, and Virtual Fashion. The 2020 S have seen continued evolution, with a strong focus on inclusivity, diversity, and digital innovation. The fashion industry has made strides in addressing issues like body positivity, with more brands embracing a broader range of sizes, genders, and ethnicities in their campaigns. Technology also plays a major role in the fashion world, with virtual fashion shows, digital clothing, and augmented reality becoming part of the experience. The rise of digital fashion has allowed consumers to purchase virtual garments for their online avatars, challenging traditional notions of what it means to wear clothing. The 2020 S have also seen the continued growth of eco-conscious fashion, as designers and brands work to reduce waste and adopt sustainable practices. Fashion is increasingly becoming an intersection of art, technology, and sustainability as the world looks toward a more conscious and inclusive future. In conclusion, fashion from 1900 to 2025 has undergone dramatic transformations, shaped by social, political, and technological forces. From the opulent gowns of the early 1900s to the digital revolution of the 2020s, fashion continues to be a powerful tool for self-expression, cultural commentary, and societal change. As we move forward, it is clear that fashion will continue to evolve, blending tradition with innovation to create new ways of seeing and experiencing the world through clothing.